What's going on, guys? Crypto Glenn here, coming to you with another video. This one's a little bit done on the late night tip, so I appreciate you for being here with me. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and again, I appreciate that. So listen, you can see what's going on the screen. You already know what we're talking about. We're talking about VeVe. We're talking about the Avengers Infinity War Soulstone, trying to craft and sacrifice some digital collectibles to get a hold of this Soulstone. And if I'm being completely honest with you all, it was a complete cluster F to begin with. Now, this is very difficult for me to say because I've been a supporter for VeVe and NFTs since I can remember, at least since 2021. If you go back on my channel, we talked, we did a video in 2021 about NFTs and how they were next up. And, we talked a little bit about VeVe and Ecomi. And speaking of Ecomi, you can definitely see the price action of the Ecomi token over the last year or so, and it's just been absolutely falling off of a cliff. But again, it's a little bit of a bear market, so that's to be expected. What I want to talk about here is just the state of VeVe. Again, I've been a huge cheerleader for VeVe for a long time, but I think we're at a certain part in this junction where we have got to start being objective. And if I'm being honest, I think the IP that VeVe brings to the NFT digital collectible space has been used as a crutch. And I think we can no longer allow VeVe to use the IP that they have as a crutch. Just like we can no longer allow VeVe to use the fact that they're quote unquote still in beta as a crutch. I think if you're rolling out this IP, highly sought after IP that you are, at a certain point in time, you've got to acknowledge the fact that this is what the people are going to get. I have been asked on Twitter if I am going to be partaking in tomorrow's drop with the Lamborghinis, and I'm not. Because being objective with myself, I said, VeVe has issues with drops. Sometimes they're buggy. If they're anything like the Soulstone drop today, it was very, very glitchy. People could not craft. And I had the opportunity to speak with Alex G from VeVe, and we'll get to that here in a second. But my issue is, for everything that people are getting for the hard-earned money that they're putting into this app, I feel that there's just no goodwill that's been established by VeVe. And I think now, if anything, with so many people having reservations about VeVe, going back to allegedly certain editions of collections being sold off-chain, and sometimes people's gems allegedly are emptied out from their account during drops, and they're not necessarily made whole, or people not being able to move the digital collectibles off VeVe, or not being able to get gems off of the application. Like, it's time for VeVe to step it up. And in one definite regard, I would like to see them step it up, is the way that the actual NFTs themselves look. If this is the drop for tomorrow, the Lamborghini, there is no reason why these needs to look like it's from PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, if I'm being super, super nice about it. For what people are going to be putting into this app, the money that they're going to be spending on these collectibles, like VeVe, they have to do better. I don't know if you need to hire more people who know how to do rollouts better, who understand how to utilize the technology better. I'm not sure if you need to hire artists that can render these images a lot better, whatever the case is, but this is just not acceptable. And I've had people ask me again if I'm getting into it, and I said, no, I just don't see the value, because I think there's probably going to be one or two of these editions that are going to go for below mint. Because I'm being honest, I just don't think VeVe really has the numbers. I took a look at a statistic today on Twitter that categorized the amount of active users, and it's obviously coming down. I want to share with you here just, the issue that I had trying to actually craft. I'm thinking, am I going to sacrifice Black Panther? Am I going to actually sacrifice Elektra? Of course, I ended up going with Elektra because, who isn't? And the whole entire thing was just super, super buggy. And people, listen, I was on Twitter Spaces. I was combing Twitter, and people had strong reservations about this. People were taking time off their lunch breaks or time off away from their desk at work, working on a Saturday to try to get in on this crafting thing. And for it not to work, this is a problem. And if you're running a business, you have got to understand that in order to stay in business, one of the key components is to not make your problems the problems of your customer. And right now, VeVe can't say that. While speaking with Alex G, we got into the conversation. I just asked him, if you guys want to hear the clip, We'll let you hear the clip. Here you'll probably see the error message that I got here pop up. We'll see if that shows. And essentially what was told to me was that they had not, see, I was actually able to select the edition, but now when I try to craft it, it's not going to work well. And I thought, well, maybe electric's just not working. Maybe I'll try Black Panther. I'm trying to figure out here how to get that done right now. Craft now, error. So as we're talking about that, listen to what Alex G had to say about it.
Thanks for bringing me up. Alex, appreciate you for being here. Long-term VeVe supporter, a long-time VeVe supporter, been on since the days where you could have a drop, not sell out in weeks, and you can still go and get it. So I've been on the app for a long time. Just kind of combing through Twitter here. Obviously, there's a lot of disgruntled people. I'd be remiss if I, didn't express my bit of disgruntledness. I know every time there's a drop, there's going to be bugs, there's going to be hiccups. How concerned are you guys with some of the negative press that VeVe has gotten, that events like this harm the reputation and could put investors, could put collectors at arm's length to say, you know what, maybe I'm going to hold off on VeVe for a while, let them get their stuff together before remaining as active on the app as we are, because this does put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. And, from someone like myself, we want to see VeVe do well. I love the partnerships that you guys have. You probably have some of the better partnerships in this space. Investors, collectors like myself, we just don't want to allow someone else to kind of encroach on your territory because maybe they know how to do the tech a little bit better, or maybe the drops just roll out a little bit more efficiently. So can you speak to that a little bit as to, the game plan for the future?
I mean, yeah, it's a fair point. I'm obviously not on the tech team, so I can't speak to the particular issues that may arise on certain things, but I know this is a very involved mechanic, and it's the first time we're doing it at this scale, and I'm not sure that we expected this many people to go for it at the time that it was available, since it was not advertised as a drop as opposed to the beginning of a crafting event. So, look, I think ultimately we need to get better about delivering features without bugs. But as was mentioned earlier, every gaming company, every large company experiences these types of things. It's just that the microscope happens to be on us because we are the company that has the level of IP that we do. So yeah, it's at this point, it's just kind of more of a learning experience and improving for next time. Obviously, this is going to be our first crafting event. It won't be our last, and so we look to incrementally improve as we move forward. That said, I'm being summoned to a tech call, and I will be back with hopefully an update.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate.
Again here, so what's the takeaway here? The takeaway is that the folks over at VeVe were not anticipating that this many people would want to come over and try to take part in this event. And to that, I would say your VeVe, you have, again, some of the better IP that's in the space. You've got Batman, Superman, you've got Disney, you've got Marvel, you've got Star Wars. You have to test everything as if 1 million, 5 million, 10 million people are going to, again, more error messages, are going to be coming in trying to take part in these launches. I don't think it's far-fetched to request that. I think a lot of times VeVe has tried to get over on the fact that they have some of the better IP in the space, and they've used it as a crutch to help them. I think if I'm looking at this from my business hat, I also have to ask the question, how long are these partnerships? Because if they're not in perpetuity, if they're only for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be, there's going to be some questions that Disney, that Marvel, that DC are going to be asking themselves. What was the user experience during drops? How much money do we make? Do we move a lot of volume? Are the people happy? Are they excited about these things? Or is there a good user experience? Because the answer to that question, if it's not, if users didn't have a good experience, if they didn't make a lot of money, if the drops didn't go smoothly, then these companies that hold these IPs, that own these IPs, are going to look at this as, hey, this is going to be a detriment to our business, and we don't want that. So they will take their ball and they will leave. They will move to another platform. And if you're invested in VeVe, these are things that you do not want. the other takeaway to this is, if we can't count on VeVe to get the drops right, if we can't count on VeVe to get things like crafting down right, and I get it, it's new, there's going to be hiccups, but at a certain point you got to learn how to do this thing smoothly, because if you can't do it smoothly, you're never going to get the VeVe verse out the way that you want it, the way that we want it to be, and it's never going to actually materialize that way. So again, I find myself just kind of trying to be very, very objective about this. Excuse me. I like VeVe. I like the IP that they have. I want to see them win. I want to see them do well, but I can't just stand by and blindly accept some of the things that I see. Like, I wish the graphics on many of these drops were better, especially living in a very hyper realistic world where we have technology on console or via GPUs that can render beautiful graphics. We should be able to have these things in the app. Like, if you're not going to give us like the best graphics, things on the launch and rollout side have to be flawless. But you can't encompass all of the struggle. You got to pick and choose your battles. Next thing, like, people, there's got to be some kind of use case for Ecomi, because just this whole, oh, well, you burn a gem, you buy a gem, and it's supposed to burn an Ecomi. Like, I'm not seeing it in the price action. So you talk about other things being done from a non-aesthetically pleasing side. Well, the issue that they had with Rambo, the rendering was off. Sometimes you'd get an eyeball if you zoomed in closely, sometimes you wouldn't. Or the issue with Luke Skywalker, how people are saying it didn't really look like him. See, all these things are gripes that people are going to have with VeVe. VeVe has to do better. They have to. Absolutely have to do better. But that's this video. I didn't really want to make it too long of a video because, again, if you're staying up to breast with VeVe, you know what's going on. And I think they still have a very, very long way to go. But what I fear is, if they cannot make good on what they have to do, people are not going to give them the time of day, and it'll be one of those too little, too late kind of deals. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about. Let me know in the comments below. Are my sentiments spot on? Have I missed the mark entirely? What are what are your thoughts? Are you still going to try to craft the Infinity Gauntlet? Are you going to hold out for the Lamborghini drop? Let's have some dialogue in the comment section below. If you like this video, please consider liking it. Definitely like it. Follow if you haven't already. We talk about a lot of things, NFT, crypto, VeVe related, trade setups, things of that nature. So definitely follow me if you haven't already done so. And I look forward to holding this conversation with you guys in the comment section below. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.